What's up, YouTube? It's the Biblical Truther. My wife has been getting pushed in her spirit to start recording and releasing her visions and dreams. And I know there's a lot of people out there saying they're having these visions and dreams from the Lord, and some of them just seem a little off the wall, but this one I have to kind of pay attention to. So last night about 11 o'clock, I was already sleeping. She said she had this vision where she was walking out to our shed, and we have a big tree, like a weeping willow tree in front of our house, and she said she was walking past underneath it, and when she got out past the shadow, there was hundreds of birds dead in our yard, and she said they were like a reddish brown bellied bird. And I knew right away what she was talking about because every year around fall, we have red-bellied robins that come by the hundreds, and you know, in the morning time they'll just be all across our field and front yard, and hundreds and hundreds of them. So I knew right away what kind of bird she was talking about, but she didn't know what it was, and I told her, "You talking about the red-bellied robins that we get every fall?" So let me show you the text message she sent me first, just to validate this happened. So that's just to validate. And then she sent me a picture back of the red-bellied robin. Check it out. So every year around fall, we get these birds in our yard by the hundreds. And she said when she seen these birds, she ran back in the house to tell me. And my response was, they actually done it. And she was like, actually done what? I said, they released the avian flu. Well, I had stayed at work for most of the day, and we come home. We started heading towards Slidell to go pick up one of our water slides, and she got a notification about a man in China who has contracted, I forget, the H5N3 something or another avian flu. And that our government is keeping an eye on it. Now, this is just one person in a sea of billions, supposedly. So while they're gonna look at this guy as hard as they are, which any real researcher would tell you, you can't cross species with viruses, but I can't tell you for certain that that's the case. Just on my own research, and in my opinion, that's the conclusion I came to. But I made a video a while back about how it seems that the elites tend to tell us their plan a year in advance. Well, as soon as we started seeing all this stuff about avian flu, I was supposed to do this video this morning, but I just didn't have time with work. And then we started seeing all these articles popping up and people talking about it on Twitter, and how they're not going to take this seriously. Just like, you know, I mean, they've made it very abundantly clear, the pandemic that we're going through. Well, anyway, you get the drift. So I told you guys about them telling us what they were going to do. I even showed you a clip from a show back in the 70s or 60s, whenever it was, how they were talking about how they tell, you know, they make the news up a year in advance. Well, a year ago, not quite to the day, but this article came up June 26th of 2020. Look. So they were already putting it out last year. Well, now there's another article that just came out last month, being that we're in June now. So it was like May 21st, May 22nd of 2021, and this is it. So they're telling us that we can't touch our chickens. You know what I'm saying? Don't hug your chickens. Don't be, you know, especially even if they're pets, you know, don't touch them. You know, oh, they're nasty birds, whatever. So they were already foreshadowing this next event coming. But I'm trying to remember where I seen. Oh yeah, there's this movie that came out on Amazon Prime called SARS 29, and it was basically like a documentary type film where they were talking about SARS 19, and then they had a SARS 22, and then they had a SARS 24. Well, basically that's what we're ending up is gonna happen. You know, they're gonna call this, if not COVID-21, they might call it COVID-22, I don't know, but they're gonna say that's a variant and yada yada yada. So I just wanted to put this out there as a warning, man. I just got home from picking up the slide, and my wife said, you know, the Lord's asking, when am I going to make this video, like get it out now. So I got in my studio to make this video and let you guys know that I don't think this next one is going to be a hoax, because I want to say, I don't remember exactly who wrote it, but it was in a book from like the early 1900s, written by a Chinese man who obviously knows the plan, and they were talking about how they were going to release one that had a very, very, very minuscule mortality rate. And then they were going to release another one if the people didn't comply to get the jab. They would release another one with a 30% mortality rate. And in this book, he talks about if enough people don't get it then they would release another one that would have as much as a 70% mortality rate. So these are just things that they've put out there in books, and a lot of foreshadowing with articles, but just like last winter wasn't that dark of a winter after all. Perhaps that was a year in advance, them telling us what they were going to do, as they always do in advance, but now it's kind of sped up, if you hadn't noticed. So never had any word from the Lord come to fruition this fast. So even though we know this whole thing is a sham, I'm not saying bow down to the totalitarian regime, but don't disregard the next one as a hoax. So I just wanted to make this video real quick just to show you that, and be safe, be careful, and love you guys.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints,